Hi, I'm Christina from Boutique Japan, and this week's Japan travel question comes from Aaron Rush in New York City. Aaron asks, what's the difference between staying in a ryokan and a hotel? Great question, Aaron. Staying in a ryokan, which is a Japanese-style inn, is one of my favorite things to experience in Japan, and it's a great way to fully immerse yourself in traditional Japanese culture. For Westerners especially, there are a few elements of a ryokan stay that may come as a surprise. And since not everyone is equally enthused about surprises, we thought it would be helpful to give you a walkthrough tour of exactly what it's like to stay in a ryokan from start to finish. But before we start the grand tour, here are a few key differences that we'll cover. Trading in your shoes and Western-style clothes for yukata and slippers. Your minimalistic tatami mat room. The how-tos on the hot water maker, Japanese toilets, and the heater, since all instructions are written in Japanese. Onsen etiquette and guidelines, also known as the things I wish I had known before my first onsen experience, your multi-course Kiseki dinner and traditional Japanese breakfast, and futon-style bedding. But keep in mind, the descriptions I'm about to give you are not for all ryokans. There are some variations, just like hotels, but this will give you a good baseline understanding of what a ryokan is like. So without further ado, let's get on with the tour. The first thing you'll notice is that most ryokans are typically smaller than hotels. These are usually places of escape for many city dwellers who come to relax and rejuvenate for a couple of days. The grounds are very peaceful and usually have an emphasis on nature with beautiful gardens or views of surrounding streams and mountains. Upon entering the ryokan, you'll want to remove your shoes and put on the provided slippers. They're usually lined up for you. Wearing shoes inside a ryokan is a pretty big no-no, so save yourself the awkward moment and be sure to remove them first thing. Once you've checked in, the nakai-san, your personal room attendant, will show you to your room and give you your yukatas to change into, which you'll wear for the entire time you're there. To welcome you to the ryokan, typically she will make you a cup of green tea. There's also usually a few sweets in your room too, like these beautiful and delicious wafer cookies. Now here's where many Westerners find their first big surprise. Compared to modern hotels, ryokans have very little furniture. Instead of carpet, the flooring will be beautiful aromatic tatami mats, and the only furniture you'll see when you walk in is a low table with two legless chairs in the middle of the room. Some ryokans, depending on the level of luxury, have incorporated some Western-style elements as well, including mattress-height platform-style beds instead of traditional roll-out futon-style bedding on the floor, and Western-style seating areas, which are usually by a large window or on a patio looking out onto a beautiful view. Another tip for first-timers is, before your nakai-san leaves you, make sure you ask her how to operate the heater, especially if it's winter, the electric hot water maker, so you can make yourselves as much green tea as you'd like, and the fancy Japanese toilet, because they have way too many cool buttons. Usually these instructions are all written in Japanese, and it's no fun getting overheated in the middle of the night because you can't turn your room heater off. Also, a quick note about restrooms. Again, partly depending on the ryokan's level of luxury, you may have a private ensuite bathroom or you may have traditional shared bathroom facilities. So if it's important to you to have your own private bathroom, you may want to check on this before choosing your ryokan. And now for my favorite part, onsens. This is usually surprise number 2 for Westerners. But not to worry, we're going to give you some quick little etiquette guidelines so you'll know exactly what to expect. Tip number 1, no bathing suits allowed. Yep, it's totally nude, even in the communal onsens. Tip number 2, before entering the onsen waters, you must scrub yourself clean. They have designated shower areas right off the gender-separated locker rooms with shampoo, conditioner, and body wash. The only difference from a traditional shower is you sit on these little stools while scrubbing up, and then you rinse yourself clean using the removable shower head or the provided water bucket. Tip number 3, do not let the onsen towel, which is just this tiny little towel they give you, touch the onsen water. Onsen water is pure from underground thermal hot springs, and it's not to be contaminated with things like bathing suits, body lotions, or towels. Most people just use their onsen towel to discreetly cover themselves while walking from the shower area to the onsen waters, and then place it on a nearby rock or on their heads. Since not everyone feels comfortable with the idea of communal bathing, some ryokans do offer scheduled private time for couples and or families in private onsen. And at the most luxurious ryokans, you'll have a private onsen in your room. After a soak in the onsen, it's time for your seasonal multi-course Kiseki Dinner. Dinner is typically pretty early, around 6 p.m. or so, and is usually served in your room or in private little dining rooms. Be sure to bring your camera and your appetites. These beautiful feasts are created using local and seasonal ingredients and are masterfully prepared. It's a great way to explore and experience traditional Japanese foods that many Westerners have never seen or tasted before. Hopefully you won't be too full from the night before, because breakfast the next morning is a small feast as well. A traditional Japanese breakfast may be a bit of a surprise for Western palates, but it's a delicious treat. It typically includes broiled fish, miso soup, rice, pickled vegetables, seaweeds, and more. And lastly, just a few more details about traditional Ryokan bedding. Typically, while you're enjoying your kaiseki feast, your roll-out futon-style bedding is carefully being laid out for you, so after dinner all you have to do is roll right on into bed. Again, depending on the level of luxury, futon mattresses are very plush and the down comforters are very warm, making for a cozy night's sleep in your little cocoon. One other little surprise for foreigners is that you and your partner will not be sharing a bed. Instead, you each will have your own comfy futon setup. One reason I like this is that the onsens are typically open all night, and sometimes it's nice to go for a relaxing little soak in the middle of the night and not have to worry about waking your partner. I hope this gives you a super clear picture of what staying in a ryokan is like and why it's such a unique and memorable experience. For most of our clients, we usually recommend spending 1 or 2 nights in a ryokan on a first-time visit to Japan. This is to see how much you like it. Most people love it, but it's definitely not for everyone. Though for almost everyone, 1 night is extremely worthwhile since it's a quintessential Japanese experience. For more information on this topic, be sure to check our blog. If you're watching on YouTube, the link is below. Thanks for watching, and check back next week to see whose question we answer next.